Mastertron Tamer here. We are about ready to go with the Artisan, but we've got a few more steps we need to do to get it ready to be a 3D printer. The very first step is to do a firmware update. Now I've already done that step. I did video some of it so that you could see it and see the steps for getting that set up. So the very first thing, you'll need to pick a language and then agree to the terms and conditions. And then a good idea is to give your system a name. So whatever kind of makes sense to you to name your Artisan. And of course hit next. Then it's going to look for a network, and you're going to pick your local Wi-Fi network. And of course you'll need to enter your password. And then it says you're ready to make something wonderful. So, yep, you get the chime. And then you can go ahead and say start. And you see we have no folder. Our folder's empty at this point. We haven't brought any files. You might double check your settings, make sure everything's okay. And then the very next thing you need to do is to download your firmware. As you can see it count across, it's relatively fast to bring in that. And once you've got it downloaded, then you can go ahead and hit update. Okay, so it's 100%. And then we're going to hit the blue button to get going. Notice it said that there was equipment that needed to be updated that was not connected. So I had not connected the linear motors to this yet, or the print head. So it talks about that those things are going to need to be updated when it gets connected. But it'll go ahead and finish up the other updates. And it comes back. And it tells us that it has updated the main board and the touch screen. And we're done. We can hit the done. And again, it says that the tool head has not been connected. Did that a little later in the process. Verified everything was good, my Wi-Fi connection, and that it had the latest firmware. But let's go ahead and do the last bits of the mechanical setup of hooking this up and getting it ready to go. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to mount the spools here and here on the printer. When it's in its enclosure, that mounting will be a little bit different, but we're not quite ready for the enclosure. So I'm going to go ahead and get those set up here. Those are on. Hopefully you can see that okay. Then the next step is we need our dual extruder module. I assume we need to remove this label. And there's an arrow right here which shows which way this slides on. So let me go ahead and slide that over and latch it. Make sure that that is solid. That looks good. And then we need to plug in the tool connector. Make sure that's in solid. All right, got that in. Now, one thing they tell us in the instructions is not to plug in or unplug any of these modules while the unit is powered on. I currently have it off, so that's safe, but we don't want to change the tool or do anything like that while the unit is on. All right, next bit. Let me put this where hopefully you can see it halfway decent, because we need to hook up all of the cables. Now with the unit, if you'll remember when I unboxed it was this fabric piece. This zips together like a jacket to keep all these wires together and keep them out of trouble. That's a really nice feature of how this works. If we look at the back of this unit, we have the place for power here, on-off switch, fan, USB. This looks like a micro USB. And then we have places to plug in all the actuators, the tool, the heating. All of these go into a specific slot in the way that this is set up. So we just start putting them in. Again, making sure this is powered off, and I don't even have a cord in it right now. So we should go. Okay, so this one says heated bed, and I've got that around backwards. For me to read that. All right, that's a little bit better. So the heated bed is on this one. Again, we make sure that it's well seated. Then the next one I have is X. That's clear over here. Oops, flip that around. And what do we have here? We have a Y. Double check that. Here is a Z. And Let's get the rest of these done. There is another Y. And then finally another Z. And we've got most of those hooked up. So what do we have left? We have got the cable for the tool head. So we make sure we get that in the right place. And that goes all the way over to the right. Okay, I have all the cables in there. That should take care of it. Just double checking the other empty ones. Yes, I think we're good. I see enclosure, add-ons, and everything for the rest of those. So as long as these are all seated, we're good to go. Then the next step is we're going to go ahead and hook up power. Now that it's safe to do so. And I'm going to set this over here. And set up another camera so hopefully you can see this display. Alright, I think it's ready to go ahead and turn on. Well, there, let me get the camera going first. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. And flip it on. Well, it's making movement and noises. I think that's a good thing. If we didn't have anything hooked up to it, at this point it would give us an error message. It would say it needs to have it hooked up. We're not getting that, so I think we're good. Alright, we've got the flash screen. Alright, it has detected that the module firmware is out of date. Earlier on, I updated the main board, but I did not have the module connected. So now it knows that it needs to update that. So let's go ahead and let it do that. Okay, I'm hearing noises, so I don't know if you can hear that, but it's coming to life as part of this update. So I'm assuming we've done something useful here. But it's still going. All right. It says that it has updated the dual extruder module, that's this, the main board, and the touch screen, and it wants us to restart it. So we'll do that. Okay, 100%. I'm assuming that's what we wanted to see, and we can say done. Now it wants us to load the filament and do the alignments. That will be our next steps. What has definitely come to life. All right, now it's going to walk us through loading the filament. This would be good if we've never done this before, because it's heating the left nozzle, and we're getting that up to temperature. And I assume they mean R left, but we'll see here in a minute. I'm going to get the filament ready because that's the next thing it's going to want. Just about at temperature. This will be the next thing we want it to do, load it. Okay, so it's telling us that they want us to hang it and load it, and it shows me a black one. Now, it is important. We want these to be different colors, and hopefully that'll be apparent later. But the first one they want us to load is the black. And I'm going to square it up. Okay, it is loading. And it is starting to come out. I should have the tweezers ready for that. Just wait a few seconds. I don't know how I can tell it to stop. Nope. Alright, it did it on its own. It has assumed now that our left nozzle is loaded, and it's right. Okay, and it said to clean up the nozzle, which I just did. Continue. Now we want a light colored filament for the next one. So I've got this light green that we can use. There it goes. Didn't have it quite far enough, but is going now. There it comes. Right. Double checking the nozzles, they look clean. So we should be able to go on to the next step. So now we're going to calibrate to the bed. And we just let it go. So for the next step, it needs to have the bed at temperature, and we're not there yet. Well, now we must be. I think that tune is telling us that we're ready to move on, but we've done that. Now we need to do the offset calibration. We need to do the XY. So for this test, it's actually going to print something for us, and then we're going to use what it prints to fine-tune the calibration. Alright, so now what we've got is a couple of combs, so to speak. One on the x-axis and one on the y. And in fact, it's gone ahead and labeled them x and y so that we know which one is which in case we forget. So it might be a little hard to discern from looking at it, but what it's done is it's used the black, which is the left filament, to lay down a baseline. And then it uses the right, which is the light green filament, to lay down a finer line on top of that baseline. And what we want to do is look at these to see which ones are does it line up on. So it tells us to go ahead and remove them. So I'll do that as the next step. Let's get this one too. And they want us to take a good look at those, which is I guess why they told us to remove them. And I'm going to put them here where I think the camera, the above camera, can see those pretty well. And hopefully we can zoom in and get them. Alright, so this one's got a little extra black on there, and that's kind of messing it up. I'm going to pull it off and actually kind of look right at it. So what we can see is that the green line on top drifts to the one way this way, and when we go this way, it drifts. So as we go to the right, the green line is going to the left. And as we go over here, we see as we go to the left, the green line is going to the right. And we're looking for the one where it's right in the middle. And that takes a little bit of discernment on our part. I think this one right here for X is the best. And so let's go ahead. So the first one they want is the X. And what I'm going to do is move this indicator over to the one that I think is the most centered. Yeah, 1, 2 over is the one I think is most centered. So that's the one we're going to use. And I do want to save that. Now it says let's take a look at Y. Same thing, we're going to see that the green line drifts to the right on this side and to the left on this side. And at some point it is right as close to the middle. And this one, Y, looks really good to me. It looks like it's already as close to the middle as we're going to get. And the reason I say that is this one goes just a smidge to the left and this one goes just a smidge to the right. Y looks good. So I'm going to leave Y where it's at. Okay, for the next calibration, they want us to make sure the surface is clean. That makes sense. But I can see it. It looks good. So let's go ahead and start it. We're just going to have to wait for it to warm up. Oh, I should have pulled off these little nozzle cleaning strips. There we go. Shouldn't take too long this time because it's not starting from cold. We should get there fairly quickly. We have to get the bed to 65, so we have a little ways to go yet. You see we have just a little dribble. Don't need that. Nozzle. All right, exit temperature. Things should start happening now. So the next step is we're supposed to look at this model carefully that it just created. One thing is they should be the same height. That should be good. I'm not as sure what's going on with this one over here, but they want us to look at the check model. That looks good. Says if any edge is printed aligned and if there's any color mixing between the different colored areas, then we decide whether to recalibrate or not. I think it's aligned. I do not see color mixing. Yeah, that looks aligned to me. And I think that's it. It says now we can start creating. That is our final step. So we are calibrated and we are ready to go. How exciting is that? I'm going to go ahead and pull this piece off. So we can look a little closer at it. Actually, let's use the fact that this is magnetic. And we can flip it off easy that way. I want to take a little bit closer look at it. There we go. Put this back where it belongs. So on the back side, and I don't know how well you can see that, but I'll hold it up for you. That's perfect. And even on the top side, I don't see, if you put it right in the middle, then the camera can focus better. I don't see any color bleeding. I don't see any overlap. We could also look for physically strong, because if there was a gap, it would not be very strong. I think we're good to go. So let's do that. Let's end this video here. Again, I'll get all set up and we'll do another video where we'll do our first creation. And that sounds exciting. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in our next video.